There are certain times where life is really difficult as a result of the ADHD, which I notice, but I will never, ever, ever use that as a crutch to say, I was late for my meeting. Sorry, I've got ADHD.
You've always been someone, you always say that you've got ADHD and you think a little bit differently to everyone else. When did you first realize that?
I mean, my whole life I've always kind of felt a little bit weird and different, and even the people that love me, they're like, Matt, you're so weird. And I never really put two and two together. Looking back now, I'm like, it was so obvious. But I was only sort of formally diagnosed by a psychiatrist when I was 27. So it was like a late life, they call it a late life diagnosis. And diagnosis sounds so hectic. It's like I've got some kind of a disease, which I'd love to chat about because I really do believe that it's a superpower. There are certain times where life is really difficult as a result of the ADHD, which I notice, but I will never, ever, ever use that as a crutch to say, I was late for my meeting. Sorry, I've got ADHD. I feel like that is just unacceptable. You need to have certain systems in your life in order to make sure that that doesn't happen. Keeping track of time is very difficult. Weirdly enough, yesterday I got so much work done. I was up from 5 a.m. and I just went down a hyperfixation rabbit hole of optimizing and sorting out my tax things and all the things that I've been putting off for ages. So that's superpower. 6 hours of straight work, no breaks, getting stuff done, switch my phone off. But then in the evening on my way home, I look down at my fuel gauge and I'm like, 0 fuel. How long has it been like this? I don't know. Am I going to run out of fuel? So then I'm like ambling to the next fuel station. So that's classic ADHD. You're so deep in thoughts about other things that you don't realize the normal day-to-day things that keep you going and keep you alive and all of that. You kind of lose track of that. But if you can manage that correctly, it's definitely a superpower. There's not many people that will think about a problem the same way someone with ADHD would. And I think that that's pretty special in itself. So the pros definitely outweigh the cons, in my opinion.
So what are some of the pros and cons? What are some of the challenges that you face? And I like that you say you don't use it as an excuse, because I think these days it's very easy to do that.
Yeah.
You know, we say, we're this way because of that. And then we're not willing to change. But what are some of the challenges that you face because of your ADHD?
Okay, so a very good one is a neurotypical person has a dopamine release cycle in their brain that happens right before they start a task. That's normal, and that's how our brains are meant, I would say majority of our brains work in that way because it's going to get you to complete the task. As an example, if I want to move this coffee cup from here to here, if that's like a difficult task, normal person, I've got the thought, I want to move the coffee cup from here to here, dopamine release, that gives me motivation to lift my hand and then move it from there to there. But someone with ADHD, I'm not going to get that dopamine release, not even nothing. There'll be absolutely nothing. I'll move the coffee cup, and then after I sit back and have a look that it's been moved, then there'll be a release. So the dopamine reward cycle in your brain is completely different. So that can be a pro and a con. A con, it's very difficult for people with ADHD to start tasks that they do not want to do. That's why they struggle with procrastination authority. Like there's a common thing with people with ADHD that they just struggle to get out of bed in the morning sometimes. They're like, I just can't get out of bed. And it's like that cycle of just stuck, or doom scrolling where you'll sit for like literal hours doom scrolling. You don't want to do anything else because the dopamine's not being released in order to give you the motivation to get out of bed. But there's systems that if you understand how it works, you understand the con well enough, then you can negate it. So as an example, if I'm ever in bed and I'm like, I really don't want to get out of bed right now, the easiest way to change that is by changing the state. So I'll just blast some music on my speaker. Immediately I'm like, I want to get out of bed, like something's happening, things are exciting now again, dopamine release, let's get on with the day. So you learn these things with age. And yeah, look, a lot of people medicate and that helps them. That's never been something that I've wanted to do. Maybe it's a psychological thing of wanting to prove to myself that I don't use it as a crutch. But I do supplement things. Like as an example, neurodivergent brains don't have as much zinc or magnesium in them as neurotypical brains do. So I supplement that every day. It helps me a lot. Another thing, L-tyrosine, we actually chatted about it. It's in a couple of these supplements, actually. L-tyrosine is such a cheat code for an ADHD brain. It helps you with the reward cycle, that dopamine thing that I spoke about. So I take that every single morning. All of these things are naturally occurring in food. I just supplement it in the mornings. And yeah, honestly, it has changed my life. I still am my quirky self. Whereas if you have to go on to like a Concerta or Ritalin or one of those medications, you almost feel like a robot. A super productive, boring robot. Yeah, which I don't have.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it depends on the severity of your condition or your neurodiversity or your ADHD. You know, like some people might actually need antidepressants, for example. They need antidepressants. Whereas other people, they might be a little bit depressed, they might have anxiety, but they can find natural ways to deal with it. So I think it kind of depends, in my opinion, it depends on the person a little bit more.
I totally agree. There are certain people that need to have antidepressants and that. But don't tell me that you need to go on an antidepressant because you're depressed and upset and unhappy in your life currently, but you're not exercising, you're not drinking enough water, you're not eating healthy. If you're constantly eating takeaways, the trans fats and that, and it's just so much sodium, and it completely gives you brain fog that we spoke about earlier. If you're not training, you also have this brain fog. Your brain just doesn't function correctly. And if you're not hydrated, I mean, your brain is essentially a lot of electromagnetic pulses and signals, and that's how it works. Anxiety comes from those signals being weakened. How do you conduct electricity in the brain? Water. That's why creatine helps so much, because it helps your brain retain the water. So if you're going straight to an antidepressant before you've just done the basics, I think that that's a mistake. I think we should try and simplify this a little bit in terms of that problem. But yeah, I'm no expert. That's just my 2 cents on the topic.
You know that feeling after a good workout? Not because you look any different, but because your head's clearer. That's the bit that keeps me training. Everyone knows creatine for the strength side, but it's the mental side that kept me using it. I even feel more present at work, during podcast recordings, and around friends and family too. Jet fuel from Leagues Ahead is what I take on days I'm running or going to the gym. Build Strong is for the days I'm not training. Same amount of creatine plus 10 grams of collagen for the joints. And it keeps me consistent. If being better than yesterday is the goal, then head to leaguesahead.co.za and use code Mike15 for 15% off. That's MIKE15. I mean, neither of us are experts, and we're not trying to come across as psychologists either. But I think a lot of people want to put the blame on something else and the responsibility on something else. Yeah. So they need something else to help them. They've got a problem, they need something else that's going to solve the problem for them. And sometimes, I mean, and now I'm not talking about medication, I'm just talking in general. Sometimes we need to actually be the ones that do something about it.
Yeah, but that's more difficult than just taking a pill, and that's why so many people just take pills to solve their problems, I guess. Yeah,
and that probably, I mean, you know, with the gambling and crypto and things like that, where you can win quickly, it doesn't require the hard work.
No, you're right. It doesn't require the hard work. It's too easy. But the difference between making a lot of money on crypto really fast or gambling and making a lot of money in a quick hit of dopamine, which, I mean, it does. It floods your brain with that's why we've got a gambling problem in this country, which is prevalent. It's insane. Everywhere you look, there's gambling adverts. But sorry, that's my ADHD. That's just another segment. If you make a lot of money and you've toiled hard for it over years consistently on one problem and you finally solve the problem and you've given society a solution to a problem that was needed, and you get remunerated for solving that problem, that money just feels so much better when you spend it. Like, it really does. It makes you feel so much better, and it's sustainable, and you're not going to just go waste it on nonsense. Whereas the gambling stuff, just as easy as it came, you'll spend it so quickly and you'll be back to chasing the next high. And that goes back to consistency. Like, slow progress is way better than just getting somewhere fast. Everything is about the journey. Like, life is all about that journey, right? Without getting too deep about it. But oftentimes we're like, I will be happy when. When what? Enjoy the process, because you're never going to be going through this process again. Like, currently I'm building businesses, and some days I'm really stressed. There's a huge problem that I'm trying to solve that I haven't tried to solve before. And I'm like, how am I? Oh, I hate this. No. I'm going to look back on this a year from now, 6 months from now, maybe even 2 weeks from now, depending on how severe the problem is. And I'm going to remember how I solved it. That same problem most likely will occur again, but it won't stress me out as much because now I've learned, and it gets solved so much faster. So I think, yeah, instead of trying to chase some I'll be happy when, there'll always be whens. Just decide to be content with the process now.
And I feel like a lot of the time we are not enjoying the moment that much, and sometimes wanting to get things over and done with, so we can now move on to the next task. Sometimes it's not easy to enjoy every task that's in front of us. Like, I know for me, typing messages and typing emails, I hate it. Like, that's why when I chat to you, I often send voice notes, and you hate it. But, for me, like, typing is not something I enjoy. Replying to emails is not something I enjoy. Things that are very admin heavy, I find really, really difficult. It takes a lot of effort, and I need like a little bit of dopamine. I need like a little bit of motivation to get me through it. But the problem with it is sometimes we start viewing everything like that, and then we're just waiting for it to be done. And like you say, I'll be happy when it's over. Once I've finished all my work today,
When it's Friday.
When it's Friday, then it's the weekend, then I can relax. So, like, let me just put my head down now, look after future me.
Yeah. I think that's a trap that we all fall into. I've done something weird as well, and luckily enough, a lot of people around me have adopted the same thing, and I think it's made a meaningful change in my small little community around me. But I've always said that my favorite day of the week is Monday. It's not Friday, it's not Saturday, it's not Sunday, it's Monday. I'm like, I've had 2 full days to not have work stuff. I can't wait to hit these problems with a fresh brain. I can't wait to deal with the people that I deal with on a weekly basis. I can't wait to get stuck in with my work on a Monday morning. And that definitely wasn't the truth when I started lying to myself about that, when I first started doing it. But it's become the truth. It's definitely become the truth. Mondays are my favorite day. And what I've noticed, that what it's done for me actually, is that generally the Sunday scaries hit. And then do you really have a Sunday afternoon? No, you're just stressed about like the new week's about to start. Now, I thoroughly enjoy Saturday, and I enjoy Sunday until the moment I go to sleep, because I'm excited for Monday. So it's just a way of lying to myself to enjoy the present moment on a Sunday. But it's worked very well.
And then do you find like telling yourself that actually allows you to enjoy your Monday a little bit more?
Oh, no, it was a lie initially. Now it's the truth. Mondays are my favorite days. I love Mondays. I can go through all the things from the previous week, see, okay, cool, I didn't get to that. I want to do that. I want to do this. I want to do this. Maybe over the weekend, I've had time to just relax and think about things. And then I've got a new idea that I want to implement or experiment with or decide on. And then I get to do that on a Monday. Mondays are exciting. I love Mondays. They're my favorite day of the week.
If you're enjoying this conversation and you want more perspective, stories, and life lessons, then please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. So going back to ADHD, just for a second.
Yes.
So I think people used to see ADHD as a weakness. It's like you think of ADHD or ADD, I still get confused sometimes.
Disability.
But you see it as a disability. You see it as the kid that can't concentrate in class. He's always daydreaming. But now a lot of successful people are coming out and saying that they have ADHD and seeing it as a strength.
Yeah. Stephen Bartlett being my business hero, he's actually one of the guys that speaks about it a lot. He has it. He's been able to optimize it very well. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is that it's probably hyperfixation. When you have an idea in your brain and you want to see it in the physical world, so like if I've got an idea to like build this coffee cup, until it's in front of me, I will not rest until like I want to see it. I need that dopamine at the end of creating it. So I'm chasing that. Maybe that's what
Yes.
the difference is. I don't know.
I mean, Stephen Bartlett, I'm glad you mentioned that because I've also been following a little bit of his journey.
Did you
And
see I got a picture of him?
I did in Cape Town. I was quite jealous because I was in Cape Town just before that as well. And then I left and I saw like 2 days later you take a photo with them.
Yeah.
But anyways, with his ADHD, he was talking about how he uses it as a strength and how it's actually helped him.
Yeah.
And he says that it allowed him to focus on the things that he cares about and fixate solely on those things. So all the things that didn't really, maybe they were important to someone else, but they weren't important to him, he wasn't focusing on. And that allowed him to have a competitive advantage over everyone else on the thing that he was obsessed over.
Yeah, so that could be a strength and a weakness, I guess. Like if I had to show you my WhatsApp now, I think there's like 140 unread messages. That's not something I'm proud of. That's a problem, right? But if I get a WhatsApp and it doesn't gauge high up enough on my this is important list, I just don't, there's no motivation for me to respond to it or even to read it properly. Voice notes. It's like I can't see the information there, so I'll move on to something else. But it does mean that whatever I'm doing at that point in time gets my full attention. So, like as an example, at the moment, I'm building these AI-powered dashboards for my businesses so that I can see basically or get a better line of sight of all of my businesses from one application that I built for myself. So all the metrics, it analyzes all of that kind of stuff. Like I'm so excited about that and I'm building that. So if someone WhatsApps me, hey Matt, I've got this business idea. Like yesterday, I got this guy that has this business idea. He wants to start the social media company. He's heard about me. He's seen my previous media company that I had. He wants to plug in a bit of investment, bit of advice. Gave me this whole pitch deck on a WhatsApp. By the way, don't ever do that. Phone someone or speak to them in person if you want the investment. But it's noise. Let me carry on with this. This is the lever that's moving things the most. So again, pro and con. That guy probably thinks I'm a plonker because I haven't responded to him, but in my brain it's just noise. This is the thing that's moving things in a positive direction. I'm going to focus all my time and energy over here.
It's a great point because I think a lot of us place a lot of importance on productivity and being busy all the time. And it's like we say to someone, how have you been? How was your day? So busy. It's
so
like,
stressed.
It's like congrats.
Yeah.
Like you're doing life well.
Oh man, I'm so stressed. I can't remember the last time I was on leave.
Yeah.
Like, jeez.
Like
I'm doing well.
that's like a noble thing.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's such nonsense. Our society is so screwed up in that sense. Like I used to feel guilty when I wasn't working, like, but I do. I work incredibly hard. I really do, and I love it. And it's not a thing about bragging. If someone asks me how I'm doing, what's today? Today is Thursday. If you say, Matt, how you doing? I'll be like, always well on a Thursday. I'm good. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm so stressed. I'm swamped. I used to,
Yeah.
but I've changed my tune on that. Also, sometimes I'll have like a lot of stuff to do, but I've just got absolutely no motivation. Maybe for that day, I should go and visit some people that I do business with and just have a conversation like this. And just, let me just not do the things that I'm meant to be doing for a couple of hours and then get back to it. We don't always have to be wildly productive.
Yes.
You're going to burn out.
And we need to switch off because, if you fixated and you're, like they say, in order to have a successful business or something that you love, you've got to be like absolutely obsessed with it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's problems that come with that obsession in the background that we often don't talk about.
Yeah, there are problems that come with that obsession, like waking up at 3 in the morning and not being able to sleep because you haven't solved a certain problem. I've had that. It, and again, it can be a pro and a con, but I do believe that the only way for you to make a meaningful difference in society is to do it sustainably, because, or rather consistently, because if you can't give someone a consistent version of yourself permanently, then you become unreliable. If you look at people that have made the most amount of money in this world, let's just use that as a metric, because most people value that higher than most things. They're like, geez, do you know this guy? How much money he made? Right? Like, we value that quite highly. All of those people, the only reason that they're so successful, for the most part, maybe 99% of them, they'll be the 1% that just inherited it or whatever. But most of those people have just stayed in the market, stayed in the economy, stayed in their industry longer than all of their competitors. You just have to outlast everyone. And how do you do that? It's not by working the hardest for the shortest amount of time. It's about working consistently on something where no one else can beat you at it, because you're just so happy to continue. If it's going to take another 10 years, you're going to be there, because you're not waking up at 3 in the morning every day. That's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. So I will beat my competitors that are working harder than me right now, because at some point they're going to drop off, but I'll carry on chugging away like a steam train, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a nice thing to understand, balance. I still do work on weekends, but oftentimes I'll take a Sunday off. Sometimes I'll take a Saturday off and a Sunday off.
Yeah.
It just depends. I don't sort of abide by the rules of, okay, let's work from 8 a.m. to 5, Monday to Friday, and then take the weekend. Like, if I get motivated and it has happened, Sunday night, sometimes I get this idea and I'm like, I bet I could bang this out in like 2 hours. Then I'll work for like 4 or 5 hours on a Sunday night, but it doesn't feel like work. And I think that's the difference. When you reframe it and it becomes fun and exciting, then it becomes sustainable.
And you see it almost as progress, not another task that now
Yes.
you've got to do.
Yeah, it's fun. I want to see if it works. And it's got absolutely nothing to do with making money. I'm just like with this AI dashboard as an example, I'm having so much fun with it. And it is helping me make more money. But that was never the goal. It was just to make my life a little bit easier. And I had this idea. I was like, I wonder if AI could do this. Could I create Then I was like, can I create a sales coach? There's a lot of IP, unfortunately, I can't speak about now because of other deals that I've got going on. But there's certain problems that it has solved that have been so fun for me that if you take the financial gain out of it, I'm still going to work on it tomorrow. It's become my hobby, which I think is, if there's someone else that, look, I'm racing against myself, no one else. But if there was someone else that was racing against me, they would lose. Because I'm telling you right now, they don't have the same amount of passion. Because you remove the money for me, I'm still going to be doing the same thing. If you put 100 million, if you put all the money in the world into my bank account tomorrow, I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow. I'm still going to go and see the same people. I'm going to build the same apps that I'm currently building. I'm going to try and scale the same businesses that I'm currently scaling. Yeah, okay, maybe I'd go on holiday somewhere really expensive, buy myself a nicer car, perhaps. But my day-to-day would stay the same.
And that's your competitive advantage, right?
Exactly. And I think more and more people should try and find what is that thing that you really enjoy doing, and then you're not competing anymore. It just becomes your natural state.
And so, like you said, people need to do something for a long time, and they need to stay in the market and learn as they go. Like crypto, I'm just using it as an example, or gambling, it's like a quick dopamine hit. It's like a quick shortcut
Yes.
to making money and getting ahead. But sometimes it's the patient, boring game. I know that Warren Buffett always said, like, his investing strategy is super boring. And that's why he became super wealthy, because it didn't look interesting.
Everyone in the market.
It didn't look interesting on paper. No one wants to hear that you've got to invest from now until you flipping 80 years old, because everyone wants to retire by 35 and find some quick shortcut into life and then relax for the rest. But that's not the way that it works.
We're the happiest people in the world. You've got these blue zones across the world. I don't know if you know about them, where people generally, according to studies, are the happiest and live the longest as well. Those people never retire. They don't retire. You've got these 100-year-olds working in gardens and selling fruits and veggies at markets in Japan. And like, there's lots of places in Italy as well. Anyways, they're across the world. But basically, they don't retire. And if you ever look at the average age of death, it's generally 5 years after retirement age of that country. So if you, I don't know, don't quote me on this, go and fact check me, but let's just say it's 65 in the States, then the average age of death is 70. So you're only like 5 years apart. And then if you had to go to like Argentina, let's say the age over there is like 55, then everyone dies at 60 on average. Why is that? We need a purpose. I'll never retire. I want to do what I'm doing, or maybe a variation of it until the day I die. Like, why would I want to stop working? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Do you think it comes down to using our brains? Like, as soon as we're not really operating at our like maximum capacity or using our brains enough, we almost die a little bit inside.
Yes, but I think it's even more than that. It's like the emotional need to be needed by other human beings. So when you're no longer a functioning part of society, then all of a sudden people aren't phoning you or relying on you for certain things. As trivial as that may be, even if you're a vegetable packer at Woolworths, like, you're still doing something for someone else. There's a level of gratitude from the people you're interacting with and you're being remunerated. But even take the money out of it, like, you're going to have your regulars that you're smiling at and small micro conversations between your colleagues. You're a part of that ecosystem. As soon as you retire, you're out of your entire ecosystem. No one really relies on you for anything anymore, and you don't feel needed or wanted. You know, so I think that's the...
Wild, because I think a lot of us want to make a lot of money so that we don't have to work anymore.
Just find a job you love so that you can retire tomorrow, essentially. Like, isn't that an easier thing to do? Look, there's always going to be things you hate doing. I've got a tax meeting after this. She likes tax meetings. I mean, find me someone that likes tax meetings. Like,
your whole body language just dropped.
Yeah, I'm just so not looking forward to that. But it's something that has to happen, right? There's always going to be vegetables. I don't enjoy eating vegetables. I eat them every single day. It's just part of life. But I will say this. After my tax meeting is done, the rest of my day in comparison is going to look so much better because I've got like a point of reference, because it's going to be horrible. And then the rest of my day is going to look great in comparison to it, right? If you permanently just have good experiences all the time, forever, then you're never having a single good experience ever, because there's no comparative thing to, gauge what is good and what is bad. Yin and yang. Good can't exist without evil. It's the same thing.
Agreed. If you're enjoying this conversation and you want more perspective, stories, and life lessons, then please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. We spoke about, off camera, but I thought it was just such a cool thing to talk about because we don't talk about it enough, is if you had to sit in a room with 10 other people, and you all had to put your name into a hat and pick someone else's name, and you take all their successes, but you also take all of their problems. How many of us would actually put that name back and, be...
Want your own name back?
Wanting our own name back.
Well, I'll take it to a whole new level. What if I told you could trade places with any human being on this planet? Would you do it?
No.
Who's someone you look up to more than anyone else in the world currently?
I was going to say Nelson Mandela, but he's not here anymore.
Okay, so let's say he was.
Okay.
Would you trade places with him?
No. I wouldn't want to go through his struggle.
Okay, so maybe that's look, it's a good example and a bad example. Maybe someone that you seem or you deem to have less problems than what you currently have now.
Or let's go Stephen Bartlett.
Yeah, he's
right?
relatable.
I look at him, I see his podcast clips come on my page, and I'm like, flip, I've only got 2,300 followers. I wish I had millions of followers. I wish I had a whole team that was doing my social clips. I mean, I think he's got something like 35 people working for him just in his podcast.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that would solve like so much stress in my life.
Would you trade places with him?
Would I? No.
Because then you wouldn't be you anymore,
No,
right?
I wouldn't be me, and I feel like I also wouldn't have the time to spend with people that I really want to spend with.
Yeah, and again, it also wouldn't be as valuable to you because you wouldn't have built it slowly but surely as you're doing now currently.
And it wouldn't be mine.
Yeah. Same thing as winning a lot of money in the lottery. Most people actually say that the worst thing that's ever happened to them is winning the lottery. The worst thing. It's ruined their lives.
And on the outside, everyone else is going,
Like, I want
flip, I wish I got that Oak's name from the hat.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we think that everyone else's life is so glamorous. We'll take their successes, we'll take their bank account sometimes, but we won't take the problems that come with it.
Yeah, Flip, there's this guy, I won't name him. I actually know he's going through a really tough time in his life currently, but he is in a different country, like every 2 to 3 months on the beaches, sipping pina coladas. And he's got a highly, like, this is to the Instagram world, he's got a highly successful trading company that he makes millions on, apparently. Yeah, he's living the life. He's got the perfect life on paper. But I spoke to him 2 weeks ago. He's currently getting divorced. He's not making the money that he says he's making on the trading. What he's doing is he's trying to sell trading courses in order to subsidize his income. And I think that's important to understand. A lot of the people that we see on social media that have got these glamorous lives don't actually.
Yeah.
It's
And a lot of them are partying away on the yachts and stuff, and it looks like they're having a good time. But the only reason a lot of them are doing that is to escape the problems that they have in their life.
100%. I used to, when I was look, not that I'm old now, but when I was a lot younger, I would look at these people, these influencers, especially the trading guys, and I would be like, oh, I want his life. Like that looks so amazing. I look at it now and I'm like, well, that looks like a really bad hangover. Like, I do not want anything to do with that. My life is so simple, and I love how simple it is. I go home and I get so excited. I'll like choose a vinyl from my collection and put it on, listen to my vinyl, and make myself like a very simple meal in my small kitchen, and that's my life, and I'm super happy with that. I could think of nothing worse than now going to live in a hotel all around the world, go to yacht parties and stuff. Fair enough, once in a while, might be cool to do that. But consistently, no ways. I'm so comfortable.
Let's take a short break and head to the coffee corner. Maddie, what's your go-to coffee order, and who would you like to have it with?
That's an easy one. My go-to coffee order would 100% be a flat white from Bean There Cafe at 44 Stanley. Just best coffee. And if I could have it with absolutely anyone, it would most likely be Trevor Noah. I think we could really relate on an ADHD and like business acumen level. And I think he's flipping hilarious, to be honest.
You say that you've got a simple life, but from my perspective, you don't. I mean, you're one of the hardest working people I know. You have always got a new business idea. And I think you're big into AI and using Claude to do things for you and optimizing your life. But does that over-optimization ever take its toll?
Yes, and it has. So when I discovered Claude for the first time, maybe a year ago, it was absolutely mind-blowing to me. I've followed the AI journey from where it started to where it is now. It was absolutely useless. I was part of, not Anthropic, I was part of OpenAI's beta testers when they first launched their image generator in 2020. No one even knew what it was, but like you could say, give me a picture of a cow, and then the cow would come with like 2 heads and like 15 legs and stuff. It was like still learning. So I've been there from then, and about a year ago, I'd say, was the first time where I was like, this can actually do something for me. And then I started playing with it. And then over a couple of months, I became something called a power user, where you basically use AI more than most people do outside of the business world. So like as an individual, I became a power user for Anthropic. And yeah, geez, I got it to essentially run my life. It was my PA. It was booking appointments for me. It was reading all my emails, giving me a morning briefing in the mornings. I would take pictures of my meals every day. It would track my macros, give me advice on how to change things. I would get blood tests done, feed it the results, and then it would say, you need to eat more of this. You need to eat less of that. Maybe you should think about supplementing this. Look into these peptides. So like for my ankle injury, we've actually spoken about it before. I was on 2 different peptides for that. Eventually, you're almost living like a robot. Yes, I was the healthiest I've ever been and super fit with a resting heart rate of like 42 beats per minute. And like I was getting through my emails really quickly in the mornings and everything was like really optimized. But it just, I don't know, it was just too much.
And inside?
Yeah, I was just eventually then I broke out of that, got off the peptide train, all my supplements off, stopped worrying about my meal planning and my gym routine because now all of a sudden everything was a hack. It was a chore. Like I used to love going to gym, but now all of a sudden I have to do this exercise and then that one because if I do it the other way around, it's not 100% optimized and I need to track exactly what I'm eating. No, I need to increase the amount of fiber in this meal. So now I need to add things in there that I don't particularly want to be adding in there. And I need to make sure that I eat my fiber first and then my carbohydrates afterwards. It was an absolute nightmare. And it was just like it depressed me. So I'm completely off that now. I wouldn't say on the other end of the spectrum. I still optimize the things that need optimization. My email still gets screened by my assistant. All of my appointments get made, but I'm a lot less structured and less optimal about the way that I do things. Because I think the thing that makes us human is the fact that we are imperfect. As soon as you try and perfect things, you lose a little bit of your humanity. Look at Brian Johnson as an example. He's the guy that doesn't want to die. I mean, he's in bed by like 7 p.m. every night. It is optimal. It's the best thing we can do. He also won't have a drop of alcohol ever, which is optimal. It's the best thing that we should be doing. Both of those things, though, I mean, if my friend's got a party and like my bedtime is 7, I'm going to miss it. So I've lost out on my social interaction there. And eventually my friends are going to stop inviting me out if every time they're having beers, I have alcohol-free beer and I just talk about how bad alcohol is and how we should be optimizing our macros and having a sauna for 15 minutes at 90 degrees Celsius 4 times a week after working out.
Or you say no because you're so focused on
Yes.
AI and getting ahead in business or working on something while everyone else is having fun. You like, busy working on yourself.
Yeah, it's just too much. Everything in moderation, including moderation. Every now and then, go and have it was my birthday last weekend. I went out, I hit it hard. I don't regret it. The next day I did a little bit, but every now and then it's nice to just blow off some steam.
Yeah.
I drink a lot less than I used to drink. Like a lot less. But every now and then, like, just hammer it. I mean, it was so social, super fun, and necessary in my opinion. You can't over-optimize everything. You can have a very boring life. That's just my opinion. It doesn't make it right, but...
Agreed. And I think you need that social element as well. We need to speak to other human beings. It can't just be us so focused on ourselves and our own growth that we don't even think about the people around us, because that's actually quite selfish in a way.
Yeah, 100%. And that's something that I've learned. If you look at actually Naval Ravikant said this in his book, The Almanac. It wasn't written by him. It was written by someone that admires him, interestingly. But I get off topic. He basically said that if you look at the short term around you, all your peers in your industry, what they're trying to do is they're trying to get rich. Okay? They're trying to become financially wealthy in the short term. That's 1 to 3 years. Okay? Maybe 5 years at a stretch. But if you look at your peers in your circle in your current industry right now, for the long term, even in today's actions, they're trying to make everyone around them rich. Because you can't become wealthy if all the people that you're spending your time with in your current industry are not also uplifting themselves. There'll be a bottleneck somewhere. So the only way for you to get what you want is to help those around you get what they want as well.
It's a great point.
Yeah. We all have to uplift each other at the same time. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. And it comes back down to sustainability. It doesn't work if one person's winning and other people are losing. We've seen it in history a gazillion times.
Yeah, we got to win together.
Yeah, look at apartheid. There was one group of people that were winning and one group of people that were losing. It was not sustainable. How could it be? The scales need a balance. Always. There always needs to be equilibrium in nature, economically and otherwise.
I love that, Maddie. And I think I could chat to you for 3 hours, honestly, easily, like a Huberman and Chris Williamson kind of podcast.
Oh yeah, we could do that.
But I think I'm going to cap it there for today. I know we've both got some meetings on, but thanks again. I mean, this is our second time doing a conversation. We actually had another one where the file got corrupted. So this is actually our third conversation. And I'm sure one day we'll be doing our 8th conversation. I always enjoy talking to you. I think you've got fantastic insights. I love picking your brain. I love the way you think about the world. And yeah, I'm excited to see what you do next.
It. And thank you for having me. I always appreciate it. Thank you.